I don't know if Angelina Jolie is back, but this movie was very entertaining. Hi, welcome to That's a Wrap, the channel where I review TV shows, movies, and movie trailers. Today's movie that we will be reviewing is Those That Wish Me Dead. If you haven't seen this movie, please consider this your spoiler warning. So let's get on to the review. I really did enjoy this movie. It was entertaining. The pacing was really good. The story was a little bit confusing. I still don't really know why they were killing the people. I guess there was a secret that they don't really let us know. If I'm wrong and you guys know what the secret was, put it down in the comments. Let me know. When I watched it, I was like, okay, what's going on? But even given that, the fact that I was a little bit confused as to the motives. I mean, I knew something happened they were trying to cover up, and it was embedded in, the secrecy within divisions, within departments, within FBI, marshals, whatever. There was like a cover up happening. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, that didn't take me away from the enjoyment of watching this movie. Normally with movies like these that I see with, I don't want to say convoluted story, but not like they deliberately withhold that information. At least that's what I took from it. Again, if I'm wrong, then put it down in the comments. Let me know where I fucked up on or what I didn't see. But usually they lose me. But I was really not in this case. Like I said, the pacing was really fast from the beginning to the end. There was no real lull point in this. There was no real love interest, as opposed to the Walking Dead guy and his wife, his pregnant wife, which we'll get into a little bit later. But it was so small, and it was probably like a whole minute and a half, 2 minutes when he goes to the ranch or to his cabin in the woods. So maybe that's what made it, the pacing better, because there was no lulls. And even when it's the dad and the son, it went pretty quick. So maybe that contributed to the enjoyment. So in a nutshell, the plot basically goes, we come, right off the bat, I think literally within a few minutes, we see Littlefinger and the Beast from X-Men just kill a husband and his wife and blow up their house. And when I saw that, I'm like, what the hell? And they're covering up their steps for I guess there's a forensic, something happened, a homicide maybe, and there are people that are aware of who they are, so they are taking them out. And that's basically, they're like hitmen, and they go around with no mercy. The way they kill was kind of upsetting, but that's the way I would think the hitmen would do. The cliche in Hollywood where they take their time and go around and talk too much. Nah, like they were just straight into business, and they didn't have no talkie and wasting time. They just went and did the job. And basically Angelina Jolie's character, she is a firefighter, because Littlefinger and the Beast are going after the kid, which is basically the star of the show or the star of the movie. It's not Angelina Jolie, and her dad, and his dad, and Littlefinger and Beast catch up to them as they're running away, trying to get to our Walking Dead guy, and they shoot him, they kill him, but the son manages to escape. And in that running from Littlefinger and the Beast, the boy runs into Angelina Jolie, and then Angelina Jolie is cast with protecting him and saving him, basically. which creates the two forces coming together, which, at the end, Angelina Jolie saves the little boy and helps, well, not really helps. She just takes out the beast. Littlefinger was taken off by the Walking Dead's wife with a sniper rifle, or just a rifle. But she is a very good shot, basically. It's like a survivor's school. And basically that's the plot. And there's a fire involved in this, but the fire played such a minimal role. It was just a plot device for the end of the movie. It was like at one point in the movie, Littlefinger and the Beast were figuring out how to divert the community, because it was a small community. I mean, it's a mountain community. So they start a forest fire. And you're like, wow, this is going to take up a lot more like dialogue or scenes in the movie. I mean, the movie is like an hour and 50 minutes. So maybe that's why they just cut out most of that, which I like the fact that they did that. But it was just a small plot device. So when Angelina Jolie and the boy are walking through the woods, they come in contact with the fire, and then they have to turn back, which allows Littlefinger and Beast and the Walking Dead guy that's being held hostage at this point and used for his tracking abilities to find Angelina Jolie and the boy, for them to come together in the fire tower or rescue tower, whatever you want to call it. But it played such a minimal role, even though that's what they've seen. And then at the end, the fight where Angelina Jolie takes down the Beast in a very good fight sequence. So that's the only reason the fire comes into place. So basically that's the plot of the movie. So it was really like the score, the music from the beginning felt very superhero-ish. It tapers off through the movie. Like you don't really hear the score and it doesn't become memorable. But I just do remember the first part and a little bit in the fight sequence. So it was really, it was interesting choice to go that dramatic of a score, but I enjoyed it. It had an extra little bit of epicness in the beginning. I'm like, oh, this sounds nice. Angelina Jolie is so beautiful with brown hair. I'm just saying that, putting that out there. I really enjoy when she has that. It just contours or contrasts her face so nicely. And maybe she had a really, really good tan, but she has such a beautiful face with such big eyes, and her with brown hair is just a nice little touch of, to add to her. But in saying that, she is way too skinny. She needs to put on a few pounds. And at the end of the movie, the kid actually, they poke fun at that. The kid says, this is what you eat, because he's eating like one of those meals that are in a bag that taste horrible when you're in emergencies, kind of like what military used to eat. And he goes, oh, this is horrible. And she goes, yep, I eat those three times a day. And the boy goes, no wonder you're so skinny. And she goes, I'm not skinny, I'm trim, or something like that, or sleek. So she makes some kind of, she admits that she's skinny, which I'm glad that she actually understands that she looks very unhealthy in her body shape. She's a beautiful woman, but maybe this is by choice that she wants to be this skinny. But yeah, she's way too skinny for my taste. But if this is the way she chooses to live her life and she's happy with it and healthy, hey, who am I to judge? But it's one of the things that I keep on noticing. When she was talking on the phone, you could see how skinny her wrists are and almost looks like a skeleton. And maybe you guys are with me, or maybe I'm just alone on this, ledge here. Every time I see Angelina Jolie, I remember Tomb Raider, or I remember Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And yes, it's not all about looks, but you could definitely tell she's super skinny. And since she has a bigger head, at least that's what her composition looks. Being that skinny, puts focus on her head, her being so skinny. So that did take me off a little bit every time they showed a body, which they do it deliberately to not show her body most of the time. And if they do, they show her in baggy clothes. And even when there's the last scene, they're in a river and she's soaked, they don't really focus on that because it takes you away, because you're just like, oh my gosh, she's so skinny. And you don't want that when you're watching a movie. You want to kind of engulf yourself in her becoming the firefighter that she's trying to personify in this role. But yeah, just, I know it's too much on the topic of body positivity or negativity or whatever, and I hope it's not coming off as any body negativity, but it's just my own opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. Was she too skinny, or did you enjoy it? Did you like it? Did you think she was just perfect? I mean, she just like I said, if she's happy with it and she's healthy, hey, you live that lifestyle. I'm all for you living your lifestyle. But let me know what you guys thought. And the kid actor, I give kid actors a hard time. I think I have a couple of videos where kids come out and that I've reviewed TV shows or movies where I've come out and said that I have a hard time believing kid actors because they either, like the Russo brothers kids in Endgame, they look at the camera, they or other kids that seem robotic in their delivery. It's not like back in the 60s and 70s when you had child actors that were really good and sold their roles. This kid did. The way he could cry, the way his facial expressions were, it was so perfect. And every time he did, some of these very emotional, intense scenes, I believed him. I believed every line he said. I believed he was in pain. I believed he missed his dad. I believed everything that he played. So hats off to this kid actor, basically the star of the movie. If you ask me, he has more screen time, I think, than anyone, even more than Angelina Jolie. But yeah, so at the beginning he was super annoying, right? When because his father's taking him to school, but in the beginning we see that the house that blew up, he actually knew them, so he knows that there's hitmen coming after him. So he doesn't want his kid going to school and being murdered. So he goes, "Oh, we're gonna play hooky," and he goes, "No, I don't want to play hooky. I have a test happening." Now, one of my daughters was that bad in going to, not that bad, but she loved going to school, and she did not like missing test days. So that part wasn't not unbelievable, but it was the road trip when he was like super complaining, like, "What did you do?" Like, kids don't really do that. They would just stay on their phone, like, "Screw it. My dad's saying I don't have to go to school. I wonder where we're going," and they will be stuck on their phone. And the way he was just in the beginning of the car ride was a little bit off-putting and annoying. But it recovered so quickly, and then he carries himself in such a great way. And again, hats off to him and his acting ability. And I won't take my comments about child actors just yet, but for this kid, definitely not in that realm. He's such a good actor, and I hope he gets more work. He delivers everything of this role and then some. So, and his crying, like I said, on demand, maybe, I don't know. Now with CGI, you don't know if it was the real tears or the fake tears, but it seemed like they were real tears. And the way he, when you cry, when you wipe away your tears, it seemed like they were real. So maybe they weren't. We'll find out, I guess, or if anybody knows if they were real or fake, that they look real to you guys, that they look fake to you guys, let me know. But yeah, love the acting of that kid. The fake fire when Littlefinger and the Beast created with the flares was kind of cheap. You could definitely tell that it was CGI. Of course, you're not going to deliberately set off a forest fire. But the reflection of the fire in their faces, it's literally like they put a yellow light in their face and said, "Oh, you're pretend there's a fire over here," and you're looking at it. That's not the way fire reflections go. They should have had it flickering in their face. Have you ever been in a bonfire, a huge fire? Have you ever been close to it? It doesn't just have a yellow tint. that's constant, it's gonna move in and out because that's what fire does. It's not a straight, a straight light. That's why when Angelina's having these flashbacks in her head to kids that she couldn't save and a friend that she lost during a previous forest fire where there was casualties, you could see that the difference in that fire, and that's a huge fire where you could see it, flickering off in their skin and the reflection off of their skin, as opposed to when Littlefinger and the Beast were doing it. It was just like, again, they just put an orange light and said, "Hey, act like there's a fire over here." That was kind of cheesy, and the pregnant woman gave me, or the Walking Dead's pregnant wife gave me anxiety. She was riding a horse while 6 months pregnant. Most doctors don't let you ride a horse after the first trimester. But she's over here. I mean, I get it. She's trying to save her husband, and she's trying to be the hero, I guess, in the strong woman in this movie. But she was riding a horse, being pregnant, and then there's a point where she reaches her husband, and she actually helps. She's the one that kills Littlefinger with her sniper skills, or her shooting skills. Her snipers, I said sniper skills. Her snipering skills. Is that snipering even a word? Her sniper shooting skills, and takes out Littlefinger. But all that smoke inhalation cannot be good for the baby, and she inhales a lot of smoke inhalation, and you could or inhales a lot of smoke. And there's a point in the movie where the Walking Dead guy and her are in the tower, and the fire's coming, and I don't know if it was by design or maybe someone said, "Hey, wouldn't it be bad that she's inhaling a lot of smoke?" And then they said, "Oh yeah, you're right. Let's just it's too late now. She's already been. We're not gonna reshoot. So let's just make them put masks at this point to help them as the fire moves along, really close to them. It misses them. It doesn't go up because they're in a high tower, and the tower is made out of metal. And the fire just kind of goes underneath it, or doesn't fully get them in that tower. And that's how I think she only survives. I think he eventually just bleeds out from an injury. The movie ends in a weird way that doesn't really tell us what happens, because the kid was calling for a news conference, for he could expose the secret. But we see the news van show up, but that's when it ends. Kind of pans out as to the fire. Even though why they to the forest fire, because it was such a small plot device. And when the Walking Dead's wife, finds her husband, he was shot, because like I said, the Beast and Littlefinger just lit up that tower, and he got shot a ton of times, and he was bleeding out. And towards the end, she survives. She goes up and finds him after she kills Littlefinger, and she touches him on his back, and her hands full of blood. And when the fire was coming on, they hold hands, and they put on the mask. And when they get found, or when the camera pans to them, when we find out that at least she survived, he's just lunched over. She signals for help, because she sees the rescue plane on top of them. And when the rescue team goes there, he's not moving. They call him medevac. They don't really call him dead. She says, "Oh, there's no rush," indicating that she believes that he's dead. But they don't really tell us that, and they don't really continue anything with that story. And so that whether he was alive, whether they rescued him, whether he really was dead, because she does know. She was raised in a survivor's camp, basically. Like, she knows how to survive, so I'm sure she knows what's alive and what's dead. So according to her, she thinks that her love is dead, but they don't really tell us that. So it was a little bit of those little. I mean, it's like 2 minutes worth of at the end that we're like, this is the way you guys decided to end it. But All in all, again, I enjoyed the movie. I give it a solid B. You won't be disappointed in seeing this movie. Again, the pacing is great. The acting is great from all parties. I know I'm calling them Littlefingers and the Beast because I really don't care for the characters. I'm not gonna, they're not memorable as the characters that I'm referring them to. And Angelina Jolie, if I'm not calling her Lara Croft, or Mrs. Smith, I'm just gonna call her Angelina Jolie. So don't take the fact that I'm just joking around with their names as an indication of not enjoying this movie. You will be enjoyed, and if you want like a thriller suspense, I felt, I was thrilled and I was suspense, and I got a little bit emotional towards the middle and the end of the movie. So when I feel some kind of emotion, definitely worth it for me. So go check it out. It's on HBO Plus or in your local theaters, and I give it a solid B. So anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.